AI. It's it's everywhere, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
And it feels like every day there's something new and crazier. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I can't even keep up.
I know.
It's moving so fast. And of course, like at the heart of it all, there's NVIDIA. They're the ones building a lot of these tools that are making this AI revolution happen.
Right.
And their CEO, Jensen Huang, well, he gave this keynote at the AI Summit Japan a couple weeks back.
Yeah. Big event.
Yeah, super buzzy. And we thought it'd be fun to kind of do a deep dive into what he talked about.
Yeah. I think there were some interesting nuggets in there.
Really interesting stuff.
Yeah, and relevant for anyone who's trying to sort of wrap their head around where all of this is going. So
yeah, exactly.
What did he talk about?
Well, so one of the things that I thought was really interesting is that he described NVIDIA as a time machine company.
A time machine company.
Yeah, and obviously, he's not talking about like, Doctor Who building a TARDIS or anything.
Oh.
But he is talking about the way that NVIDIA is using simulation technology to essentially predict the future in a lot of different fields.
Ah, I see.
And so they've already been doing this with like physics,
Right.
and creating these incredibly realistic virtual worlds like you see with like, the Omniverse and a lot of their, metaverse stuff.
Right. Yeah, yeah. I've seen some of their stuff on Omniverse. It's pretty crazy.
It's wild. And so now they're taking that same approach and applying it to AI.
Okay. So instead of like building a physical time machine, they're building a virtual one that can kind of simulate the future of AI. That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
What does that even look like?
Well, I think a good example is self-driving cars.
Okay.
If you want to train those algorithms in the real world, it takes forever. And it's really dangerous.
Right.
Because you're putting, a car out there that could potentially, cause an accident.
Right.
But in a simulation, you can create infinite variations of road conditions, traffic patterns, weather, like, you can do all these things.
Oh, that's really interesting. So you're saying that they can basically like fast forward AI development by simulating all of these different scenarios.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay.
And so, for anyone who's interested in the advancement of AI, this is a big deal because it means that things could move a lot faster than we thought. And, NVIDIA is not just building the hardware, but they're also building these tools. They're building the software that is going to actually, accelerate the whole field. So pretty interesting stuff.
Absolutely.
And, something else that I thought was interesting is there's strong connection to Japan. I mean, obviously they're an American company, but they've got a long history in Japan. And it's not just in the tech world. Like they partnered with Nintendo to help develop the Switch.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that. The Switch.
Yeah, yeah. And that actually, I think, kind of gives you a hint at how deep this partnership really runs. Because the Switch uses a custom NVIDIA Tegra processor.
Oh.
And that's like this super powerful chip. And it turns out that same chip is used in some AI applications as well. So in a way, like while gamers were enjoying their Switch, NVIDIA was already sort of laying the groundwork for some of these advancements that we're seeing now with AI.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. So they're kind of, planting seeds in these different areas that you wouldn't necessarily think of, like gaming, and that leads to
exactly, yeah.
all sorts of other things.
Hidden connections everywhere. And this partnership goes way beyond just mobile devices. Japan has always been, really innovative in robotics and automation, fields that are obviously very closely tied to AI. And so having NVIDIA support, especially in areas like supercomputing, really, I think, positions Japan to be a real leader in this global AI landscape that we're seeing emerge.
Yeah. And, that makes sense when you think about, Japan's history with technology, but also like their cultural sort of affinity for, robotics and all these kinds of things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it seems like a really natural partnership.
Now, another term that Huang kept using throughout his keynote was accelerated computing. And I have to admit, when I first heard that, I was like, okay, what exactly does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds kind of like a marketing buzzword or something, but it's actually, it's a really interesting concept.
Yeah. So what is it?
So basically, think of it as like a dynamic duo. You've got CPUs, which are like the brains of our computers, and you've got GPUs, which, were originally designed for graphics, but they're really good at this thing called parallel processing. And so the idea behind accelerated computing is that you combine those two. And so they can basically work together. Like, CPUs can do what they do best, and GPUs can kind of handle these these more complex computations that require a lot of, parallel processing power.
Okay, okay. I'm starting to get the picture here. But where does AI fit into all of this?
Well, so AI, and especially machine learning, is all about processing massive amounts of data,
Right.
right? And so the faster and the more efficiently you can do that, the better your AI is going to be.
Okay.
And so accelerated computing is a way to basically, turbocharge that whole process. And NVIDIA has actually developed these really cool things called domain-specific libraries.
Domain-specific libraries. I love how in the tech world they always come up with these terms that
Right.
are really hard to understand.
Yeah, it sounds very complicated, but basically, think of them like, a specialized toolkit.
Okay.
So instead of having like a one general purpose set of tools, you have a specific set of tools that is optimized for, image recognition or natural language processing or, recommendation systems, whatever it is that you're trying to do with your AI.
So it's like having the right tool for the right job, basically.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm with you.
And those tools are specifically designed to work with this accelerated computing platform. So it's like, you're getting the best of both worlds. You're getting the hardware and you're getting the software all optimized to work together.
Got it, got it.
So it really does accelerate the whole AI development process.
Now, this is where things started to get really mind-bending for me. Huang talked about this shift from what he called software 1.0 to software 2.0.
Yes.
And it sounds like a huge leap.
It is a pretty fundamental shift.
So what is he talking about here?
So in the past, software was all about programmers writing explicit instructions for the computer to follow, like if this, then that kind of thing.
Right.
Very rule-based.
Yeah.
And that's what he calls software 1.0. But with software 2.0, we're kind of entering this era of machine learning. And so instead of humans having to program every single step, we're basically feeding machines massive amounts of data, and they're learning to identify patterns and make decisions on their own.
Wow. So instead of programming the how, we're programming the what and letting the machine figure out the rest.
Exactly. It's a much more, data-driven approach.
Okay.
Think about something like Spotify's recommendations.
Oh, yeah.
Right. In the old days, a programmer would have to write rules like, if a user listens to artist A, recommend artists B and C, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now, with machine learning, Spotify can just analyze your listening habits and, millions of other users' data to generate these hyper-personalized recommendations.
Yeah, it's amazing how accurate they are.
It is. And the algorithms are constantly learning and evolving, right? Far beyond what any human programmer could actually achieve.
That's a great example. And I think this ties into the scaling laws that Huang talked about. This idea that bigger models, more data, equals more powerful AI.
Right. It's a very fundamental principle of modern AI. Basically, the more data you feed these machine learning algorithms, the better they get at understanding and making predictions.
But that also kind of raises some interesting questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because not everyone has access to these massive data sets.
Of course.
So does this mean that only a handful of companies are going to control the future of AI?
Yeah, that is a very valid concern. And it's something that, the AI community is actively grappling with, right? Like, how do we democratize access to data? How do we make sure that AI innovation isn't limited to just, a select few? These are big questions that, that we need to address as the field kind of continues to evolve.
Yeah, because it's not just about the technology itself, but it's about, who has access to it and making sure that the benefits of AI are kind of shared broadly.
Absolutely.
Now, along with all of this talk about software 2.0 and accelerated computing, Huang unveiled this new system called Blackwell. And I've got to say, it sounded like a supercomputer on steroids.
It's incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
Blackwell is designed for both, massive scale and incredible connectivity. So it can function as a standalone supercomputer, right? Capable of, crunching numbers at these mind-boggling speeds. Or it can be integrated into like a vast data center, connecting with other Blackwell systems to form this truly global network of AI processing power.
Whoa, that's nuts. So basically, this is a system that can power like the most demanding AI applications imaginable, whether it's scientific research, developing new drugs, or even creating those hyper-realistic virtual worlds that we talked about earlier.
And it's not just about, raw power. It's about The potential for collaboration.
Yeah, how so?
So imagine, right, researchers all around the world working together on the same AI project, leveraging the combined power of this, global Blackwell network.
Right.
It's like, unlocking this whole new level of scientific and technological advancement, really breaking down the barriers.
It's crazy to think about, what that could lead to.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the time machine concept, accelerated computing, software 2.0, this crazy powerful Blackwell system. And then finally, Huang painted this picture of a future filled with AI agents.
Yes, this was very interesting.
So what exactly are these agents and how are they going to change our lives?
So think of them as, like digital coworkers.
Right.
But much more capable than the chatbots we have today. Right?
Yeah, so
these agents would be able to understand really complex tasks,
wow.
plan them out, execute them with a level of autonomy that we haven't really seen before.
Okay, so instead of just answering my questions or setting reminders, these agents could actually take on real work.
Exactly.
Collaborating with humans to achieve real goals.
Yeah. Imagine an AI agent that, helps you analyze market trends and develop a new business strategy. Or an agent that assists doctors in diagnosing diseases with greater accuracy.
Right.
I mean, these are just, a couple of examples. But, the potential here is really huge.
Yeah, so it sounds like we're on the verge of a major shift in, how we work, how we live our lives. I mean, this is
a lot to take in.
Yeah, a lot to take in. So to recap, NVIDIA is using its simulation technology to, essentially accelerate AI development. They've got this, really deep partnership with Japan, which I think is, going to help Japan become a leader in the AI space.
Mm-hmm.
And with technologies like accelerated computing and the Blackwell system, they're providing the tools to power the next generation of AI applications.
It's an exciting time to be following AI for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the pace of innovation is incredible.
It is.
But as we're, kind of embracing all of these advancements, it's also important to think about the bigger picture.
Right.
Right. What are the ethical considerations here?
Yes.
How do we ensure that AI is developed and deployed responsibly?
Big questions. Big questions. And, how do we prepare for a future where humans and these intelligent machines are working side by side?
Yeah, and I think those are the questions that are going to shape, the next chapter of the AI story.
Definitely. A lot to think about.
Well, thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
My pleasure.
It was a wild ride.
Oh, yeah.
The floor of the AI Summit, Japan 2024.
Still buzzing from all that Tokyo energy.
We always got to check the pulse.
Yeah.
When Jensen Huang,
the man himself,
hits the stage.
Absolutely.
Especially when he's over there, on the other side of the world.
Right. Yeah, in Japan.
Dropping some knowledge.
Yeah.
So that's what this deep dive is all about.
Let's unpack it.
We've got articles, we've got analyses, we got insights.
Insider scoops.
The whole 9 yards. Right. All right. So AI Summit, Japan 2024.
Yeah.
Just wrapped up, November, the 13th or something?
Yeah, just a couple days ago.
So hot off the presses.
Fresh.
But what I found really interesting was the timing of this. Like you said.
Oh, yeah.
This isn't just AI,
Right.
The new,
buzzword.
The buzzword, yeah.
It's not the shiny new toy anymore.
Exactly. This is
industry.
Ground level.
Ground floor, changing the world stuff.
And Japan's such a powerhouse.
Oh, they're ahead of the curve on so many things.
When it comes to tech, so I feel like him being there is a statement.
Absolutely. 100%. I think it's strategic for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's very telling.
Okay, so let's get into it. What did he actually talk about?
Okay, so from all the reports I've been digging through and the, behind the scenes whispers, it seems like Jensen is really fixated on this idea of AI and robots becoming best buds.
Like BFFs?
BFFs, yeah, totally. Especially in the world of factories and industrial stuff, yeah, automation.
Okay.
He was talking a lot about how these AI-powered robots are gonna totally revolutionize the way we make things.
Interesting.
And move things around.
Okay.
He even gave a shout out to
he dropped.
He did he name dropped a Japanese robotics company called FANUC.
I've heard of them.
Yeah, you know them, right?
Big players.
Huge. Yeah. Really praising them for weaving AI into their industrial robots.
Okay, hold on. This is juicy.
Right.
Because FAUC, I mean, they're the heavy hitters
They are titans.
in the robot world.
The real deal.
And you've been following them for a while, right?
Oh, yeah, for years.
So what are we thinking here? Is this like
Okay,
a little like a partnership, maybe brewing?
I wouldn't be surprised.
What would that even look like, though?
Right.
What could they do together?
So think about it. FANUC, they build like these crazy strong robots, right?
Yeah, the hardware is intense.
The hardware is top-notch.
Yeah.
And then you've got NVIDIA,
The brains.
the brains of the operation, right? The AI, the software, the processing power.
Yeah.
You put those two together,
Mhm.
you could get some seriously smart robots.
Okay.
Robots that can do like the most complicated stuff
Like what?
all on their own.
Really?
Like way more autonomy than we've ever seen before.
So we're talking full-on like sci-fi.
Kinda, yeah.
Ro-
It's getting closer.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it seems like Japan is like the
testing ground.
proving ground.
The front lines, yeah.
Okay, anything else like big standout from the keynotes?
Okay, so he also spent a bunch of time talking about
Okay.
large language models,
Uh-huh.
LLMs,
Right.
and how they're going to be like the secret sauce for robots.
Okay.
He was saying we got to move beyond just like robots that can do one specific thing.
Right, like they're programmed for just one task.
Exactly. He
Right.
wants robots that can like understand what you're saying.
Oh, wow.
Like you can just talk to them
Well,
and they'll get it.
okay, hold on. I feel like we're in a movie here.
It's getting wild, right?
Robots that can like hold a conversation.
Yeah, and not just that.
Okay.
They can learn from doing stuff
Okay.
and work with us humans.
Like they're part of the team.
Yeah, more like teammates,
Yeah.
less like machines.
Wow.
And he specifically mentioned
Hold on, but that-
NVIDIA's Megatron Turbo.
NLG model, right?
Right. As like a key player in all of this.
Okay, so to recap,
Yeah.
it sounds like Jensen's trip to Japan was all about saying
Get ready, folks.
the future is here.
AI and robots are about to be like this.
Like peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah. They're going to be inseparable.
And Japan's at the forefront.
Leading the charge.
Okay, but what's interesting is he didn't just talk tech.
Right.
He talked about the bigger picture, too.
He's thinking long game.
Yeah, like, how's this going to change how we work?
How we live.
Our whole world, basically.
Yeah, the whole shebang.
Right.
And that's what makes this so much more than just like a news update.
Right.
It's a question.
The big
A
question.
big question about the future.
How is this crazy AI robot combo
Yeah.
going to reshape everything?
The $1 million question right there.
And that's the question
Right.
we all got to be thinking about, right?
Yeah.
A little scared.
I mean, it's exciting, but yeah,
A little excited.
a little nerve-wracking.
But mostly excited.
It's the future.
This is wild.
We're living it
Thanks for breaking it all down with me.
anytime.
This is awesome.
Yeah, this is fun.